Welcome to this session of guided mindfulness and compassion meditations. Nice to see everyone. We will be talking today about the phases of mindfulness practice. We'll go through those and practice them. This guided mindfulness session will include a grounding practice and then close placement, in which we hold our attention close, particularly the internal sensation of feeling the breath come in and out. And then we'll expand beyond that to more open environmental mindfulness, sometimes talked about as awareness, because it's not so tightly focused on our internal sensations, but includes all of our experiences, our perceptions, external and internal. And as I've mentioned before, understanding what mindfulness is, the word itself is a clue, and that is mindful. Now, in our ordinary language, we say, be mindful of what's going on, which means paying attention, and that is really what it means. But if we understand a little more deeply, some people think that meditation is about clearing your mind and emptying your mind, but that's not the case. Mindful means that your mind is full of your experience of the present moment. All of the sense perceptions, all of your internal feelings, sensations, including thoughts. Now, that's the state of being mindful. Mindfulness practice is working with the mind because it tends to wander. And that is, we are present, and that is our default mode. Our body is always present. So our mind, when it is simply being one with the body, mind and body synchronized, then the mind is present. But our mind is a kind of time machine and goes off to different places in the present and the past and the future. So the practice is, when a thought or imagination hooks your attention and diverts your attention from what you had chosen, such as the internal feeling of filling and emptying with the breath, when that takes you away into a series of thoughts that become a daydream, when that pops, when you wake up, and we always do at some point, otherwise we'd go off in a daydream and never come back. But when that pops, at that moment, that's a moment of recognition. And it's a moment of being fully present. At that moment, it's important not to judge, but to simply smile with a little bit of amusement at how far off you went into your daydream. And then say, oh, wandering, that was wandering mind, and come back to what I was doing, what I was paying attention to. It can happen very, very quickly. I remember, an example is you're in the class and you're going, oh, this working with the breathing is very relaxing. This reminds me of that yoga class I took. I like that instructor. I wonder what happened to her. I think she moved to New York. I love New York. That play we saw last, and in 2 seconds, 3 or 4 thoughts, and you're in New York watching people singing and dancing on stage. It can happen that fast. And then we can go further, well, that play was really good. The singing and dancing was wonderful, but the script wasn't that good. I could write a better script than that. Maybe I should. I think I'll write a screenplay. And if you live in LA, you're starting your screenplay. So that's how fast it can happen. So we need to have a sense of humor about that and simply go, oh, that was lost in thoughts, wandering, thinking, daydreaming, whatever simple label you want to use, that punctuates the difference between being someplace else and being back in the present moment. You don't have to bring yourself back to the present moment. That's our default mode. You just have to remember what you were doing. And so we will go through different things that we're paying attention to, and that is what we bring our attention back to. All right, so we start with a grounding practice, and posture is very helpful. If we're slumped down like this, we get sleepy and drowsy. If our chin is up in the air, we get to kind of get spaced out, and it's easy to go into daydream. So the simplest thing is what we were told when we were little kids: sit up and pay attention. So if we sit up, we're upright but not rigid. If you feel like the back of your head is gently extending up, you see, I didn't pull my chin in. I'll do it a little more sideways here. I don't pull my chin in, but I just feel like that's extending up and the chin comes in naturally. So we have that nice posture. You can, if you're sitting in a chair, have your feet either flat on the floor, or if your knees are too high, just cross your legs gently in front of you. And your arms, the upper arm should be hanging straight down. And then you can either cross your palm, one palm on top of the other like this in your lap, or each hand palm down on your thighs just behind your knees. Your lips are either slightly open or lightly touching closed. Your eyes are gazing downward, eyelids. We'll start with our eyes closed, but then we'll move to eyes gazing downward. And you're always breathing in through your nose. If some air comes back out when you're breathing out, comes out through your mouth, that's not a problem. And to begin, let's let our eyes gently close and be aware of any tension that you have in your body that you don't need to hold your posture. You need some to hold that nice upright posture. But scan from the top of your head, forehead, around your scalp and your ears, eyes, cheekbones, jaw, and lips. Just let any tension you find there, just let it melt naturally, as much as it will. You can't push tension away, that only increases it. Let it melt and flow down and out of you. Your neck and shoulders, often we have some tension there. Just let your shoulders hang naturally. Out to the points of your shoulders and your upper arms, collarbone, shoulder blades, chest, and upper back. Rib cage all around, solar plexus, stomach, lower back, and deep belly. It's particularly easy to feel the tension flow out of you on the out breath. Hips and pelvis, thighs, forearms and hands, knees, calves, ankles, and feet. Breathe out, let all that tension flow down and out of you. Go back to the top of your head. Take nice one full breath in. And as you breathe out, just sweep it all out and down from head all the way down to your toes. We often think of our mind as being right behind our forehead. It kind of feels that way, but let your mind fall back and down, kind of the way you would if you come home from a hard day's work and you just let yourself fall into a big, soft sofa or easy chair. Let your mind fall back to the back of your skull, down the back of your throat. And now let it drift slowly down, back of your throat, behind your chest, behind your solar plexus, behind your stomach and down below your navel, a few inches below your navel, just in front of your spine. Let your awareness rest there. It's quiet down there. You can feel the gentle movement of your lower torso as the breath comes in and out. And with each out breath, just let yourself feel like you're sinking down and merging with the earth. Breathe out and merge with the earth. But your posture is still upright, part of the earth extending upward like a majestic mountain. So solid and grounded. Now, rather than controlling your breath, just be an observer. Notice how your breath goes in and out by itself. Sometimes longer, sometimes shorter, deeper or shallower. Coming and going like the wind. And as best you can, drop your preconceptions, expectations. Let your mind be open to whatever you're going to experience with an open curiosity, a vast openness like the sky. Your mind is like the sky. Thoughts are like clouds floating across the sky. Sometimes they're faster, like birds or a whole flock of birds flying across the sky. But neither clouds nor birds leave a trail. They just come and go. Let your mind be like the sky, breath like the wind, body like a mountain. Now let your eyes open about halfway, looking downward. And if you're looking right at a computer or a device, you can turn a little bit sideways so that you see the space that you're sitting in. Your eyes are looking straight ahead, but slightly diagonally downward, like that. And wherever they rest, just rest there. Don't grab onto it with tight focus, but soften your gaze. It's as if you're looking at the space that you're sitting in rather than an object. And as our object of attention, it's threefold. Awareness of your posture, the feeling of the breath filling you as it comes in, and emptying as it goes out, that internal sensation. And we'll do that for a few minutes. Again, if your mind wanders into a series of daydreams and starts drifting away, when you wake up, just come back to posture and breathing. Posture and breathing. Now let your gaze gently raise up so that it's horizontal or just below horizontal. Eyes fully open, but the same posture. And as each breath goes out, rather than focus on the in-breath, we're focusing more on the out-breath. In-breath tends to be energizing, out-breath tends to be opening and relaxing. So we focus on the out-breath. The in-breath just comes in by itself. But as the breath goes out, your mind rides the breath out and opens up. And as your breath dissolves into the atmosphere, your mind opens up to the space. The full space that you're in front, to the sides, even in back of you. So soften your gaze and open your vision to the widest peripheral vision. Open it as wide as you can. Up and down, side to side. Open up your hearing. Listen for sounds in all directions. Open up awareness of the feeling of your body in that space. How it moves with the breath. How you can feel the air on the skin of your hands, arms, and face. Notice any smells in the space. You might even have a little bit of leftover taste from coffee or tea that you had. Lunch, dinner, wherever you are. But we mainly tune into sight, sound, and feeling sensations, as well as thoughts. In the same way you're aware of sounds and sights in the space around you, thoughts go by in the space of your mind. Once again, if those thoughts hook you and take you away into a daydream, when you wake up, smile, think that was daydreaming, reconnect with posture and out-breath. Posture, out-breath, and then let your mind relax into awareness of the space and your sense perceptions. We'll do that for a few minutes. Whatever sense perception your mind rests on, explore that for a couple of moments. Stay with it for a little bit. And then either move to another one or let another sense perception invite your mind to explore it. And now for the compassion practice. We begin with opening even further. So raise your gaze, look straight out as if you were looking out at the horizon, and imagine that you're seeing all the way out to the horizon. Let your mind be as big as the sky in all directions. Imagine that your mind is as big as the sky above and all around. Breathe out and imagine that your awareness extends out beyond the sky, out into space in all directions. Above, below, all around. Breathe out and imagine that your awareness extends out past the stars, and then even further out beyond the farthest stars. And rest for a moment in that infinite openness. And from that sense of openness, be aware of your breath coming in. It's as if you're drawing the space into you, not just through your nostrils, but through all your pores. And as you breathe out, imagine that you're breathing out that way, in all directions, from all your pores. And imagine in your heart center, which is at the center of your chest, at heart level, is a beautiful clear crystal made of light. Any shape you'd like, but that crystal, glowing, bright light, has transformative properties, particularly to transform anything negative into its positive opposite. And beginning with yourself, you can either leave your eyes open or let them gently close. Any aspect of yourself that you have negative feelings about, unwanted emotions, anger, frustration, blame, guilt, any of those feelings, any physical ailments, illnesses, any kind of suffering or frustration, feelings of not getting what you want or deserve, feelings of being stuck with what you don't want. All those negative feelings, as you breathe in, imagine from all parts of your being that they are gathered into the crystal in your heart center. They transform instantly. And what radiates out from that crystal is the cool moonlight of kindness that turns all of them into their opposite. Impatience becomes patience. Anger becomes acceptance. Blame becomes forgiveness. Pain becomes relief from that pain. Struggle becomes ease. Breathe in and gather. Breathe out. The crystal radiates kindness to your whole being. Breathe in fear. Breathe out courage. Breathe in any unhappiness you have, any suffering and struggle, any illness, into the crystal in your heart center, and radiate out peace, happiness, and health. And now picture in front of you, either with your eyes open or closed, in front and all around you, if you'd like, all of your loved ones, friends and family. They all have similar struggle, suffering, and illness. And imagine that as you breathe in, what comes in through all your pores from all directions is all of their struggle, suffering, and illness. It comes into the crystal in your heart, instantly transforms, and from your heart, through all your pores, out in all directions, radiates this beautiful, cool moonlight of kindness. That moonlight fills all their beings with peace, health, and happiness. If one particular person comes to mind, it's fine to focus on that one person. Like our Ken's friend Eugenia, who's going in for a heart operation. Gather in any of her fears, any of her pain and illness, into the crystal in your heart center and radiate out to her courage, peace, and health. You can do that for any friends or family member at any time. And as best you can, expand that beyond the people close to you to all other beings, all the people in the world, all creatures, great and small. And when it comes to people, you might think of people who you like, don't have an opinion about. Some people that you've never met that you like or don't like. They all have suffering, struggle, and at some time or other in their lives are subject to illness. Gather that in through all the pores in your being into the crystal in your heart. It transforms, and as you breathe out, radiate that out in all directions, filling all beings everywhere with that cool moonlight of kindness, peace, health, and happiness. And if you need more than one breath to feel like you're doing it thoroughly, that's fine. You can gather through several breaths and then radiate out through several breaths. When you find someone you have difficulty with, understand that breathing in their difficulty makes them much easier to get along with. And at the same time, you're gathering into your heart your own difficulty with them. So you're radiating out patience and acceptance to yourself and radiating out peace, health, and happiness to them so they are not such a difficult person. Imagine if everyone in the world were more at peace, more open-minded, more kind. Now, let go of the visualization, lower your gaze a bit. Just take a few breaths, come back to the close placement of awareness of your body, awareness of the space you're sitting in, the feeling of the breath filling and emptying as it comes in and out. Good. Thank you. Now, without any urgency, I'm going to invite you to unmute yourself if you would like. And if you have any questions or comments on the practice, you're more than welcome. My teacher once said that when the gong, final gong, or the signal that meditation has ended, that's when people really do their best meditation, because then they just let go and relax. Ah, done with that. Oh. Present, no chatter.
I had one question.
Yes, Christy.
Is the goal of the practice to be present for longer periods of time in your daily life?
Well, let me ask you a question. When are you most at peace, most effective, most happy?
I would say in general, I'm most happy in the morning when I wake up.
Ah, that's perfect. You know what? That's what we're talking about. It's about waking up.
Okay.
So that's exactly right. The idea is that when we are taken off into daydreams, it's like we're sleepwalking. And then you miss what's going on. So mindfulness is enriching your life in that you experience everything that's happening. Have you ever been in a bit of a daydream as you were driving your car and you miss your exit?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So what was happening was your mind was occupied by your thoughts. Yeah. And the sense perceptions, only one takes the foreground at a time. All the others go to the background. So you were still seeing enough to drive, but not seeing enough to observe the signs that said it's your exit. So you missed it. Now, chances are what you were thinking about, you have already thought about, because we spend most of our time in reruns. Now, I call that replaying the past. And sometimes we replay it in a different version than what happened, as if we're going to change the past. Now, what I should have said when they said that, I should have said this, and then I could have said that. But that's not what's happening. That's not what happened. You can't change it. So the rest of the time we spend pre-playing Now, next time I see them, when they say this, I'll say that, then they'll say this, then I'll say that, and then I'll get my point across. But that never happens. Imagine if I said, the only TV you're going to get to watch are shows you've already seen, or shows you're going to, like previews of shows you're never going to see. How satisfying would that be?
No.
So instead, your life is enriched when they're all new shows. Wake up. That's what it is. I think you'll find it interesting. Buddhism, if you translated that into English, would translate as awakeism. That's what that word means. The root, B-U-D-D-H in Sanskrit or Pali, the ancient Indian language. So when we talk about the person who founded that, he didn't intentionally found it. He just taught what he discovered. His name was Siddhartha Gautama, but he was called the Buddha, which simply translates as one who has woken up, the awake one. So Bud is the root. You add HA on the end, it means one, a person. So it's a person who woke up. So that means we all can be that. None of us can be the historical one, but we all can be awake. And in fact, this is what I'm trying to tell everybody. This is the good news. You already are. When you wake up that first moment in the morning, you're awake. When you start thinking about what went wrong yesterday or what you might go wrong today, or what you might be able to accomplish today, and you have all sorts of hope and fear, then you get into daydreams and you start sleepwalking. So the point of mindfulness is to be more fully present. Now, what my teacher said was, we have those moments already, so start recognizing them. Then our practice is to be able to rest in those, not to try to hold on to them, but to rest in those for longer, and to be more aware that as our mind drifts off, oh, I don't need to go there. So you don't get as deep into the daydreams. You catch yourself sooner, so you spend less time in them and more time here, where you are. Is that helpful?
That's very helpful. I feel like I have a long, long way to go, because when you described monkey brain, I think that I have that, but I really want to be more present. So I'm going to work on this.
Okay, so I'll give you a little teaching on that.
Okay.
When people have that experience and they've meditated and they go, oh, I got it, we try to explain to them, not so fast. You've got a long way to go. When people say, as you did, oh, I've got a long way to go, we say, no, it's right here. You just did it. It's available every second of every day. You don't have that far to go. It's right. It's as close to you as the skin on your body, as the eyeballs in your eyes. It's already there. So you don't have very far to go at all.
Thank you.
Any other questions about the meditation practice or your meditation practice before we transition out?
I have just
Barbara.
something. I was talking to a friend of mine who has been meditating for years, and I mentioned that we did this meditation of compassion. And she looked at me like, huh? And I realized that's the part I like the best. Bringing in things that upset me or whatever, and then letting them go. They don't go away forever, but it's that moment when they're gone for a while. It's good.
Wonderful. Well, you should invite her.
I should. Yes, I will. But
please, she is welcome. Please invite her.
Yes.
Anybody else? Okay, so I do want to close this session with two things. One is to share with you the aspiration that goes with the compassion meditation. And these are called, there are different translations, the 4 limitless ones, the 4 immeasurable minds, the 4 great thoughts. But it's an aspiration for oneself and all beings. And I'll go through the 4. May I and all beings enjoy happiness and the roots of happiness. May we all be free from suffering and the roots of suffering. May we all enjoy the great happiness beyond conventional joy and beyond conventional happiness and suffering. And may we all attain the deep equanimity free from attachment, aversion, and ignorance.
Obtain the great equanimity free from attachment, ignorance, and judgment.
And now you can repeat after me, and this is we dedicate, it's called the dedication of merit. Whatever merit or benefit we've accumulated through this practice and through our study, we want to not just keep that for ourselves, but share it with others. It becomes much, much more powerful. So we traditionally recite something like this, and I'll do it. You can repeat after me if you'd like. May the practice I have just done
May the practice I have just done
be of benefit to others
Be of benefit to others
as well as myself.
as well as myself.
And if you're feeling particularly generous or you want to cultivate some generosity, you can even say, may the practice I've just done be of even more benefit to others than it is for myself. So thank you very much. That was our session on mindfulness and compassion.